do not enroll in my coaching. I know that sounds weird. Usually I'm telling you, or other coaches are telling, please enroll in my program. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that yet until you have listened to this video or you have attended one of my masterminds or one of my master classes, so you know what I am about. But first, I thought I must tell you how I created all of this, so you'll know if you even want to be involved, because some people have a little trouble with this, as I did. I had to become my authentic self, and this is what I want for all of my clients, you see, because that is where you ultimately find your happiness and your success, everything, because we were all born perfect. We were all born with everything that we needed to manifest a brilliant life if we were to follow the plan that we were given, but we don't always do that. I didn't do that for a lot of different reasons. We come into the world with different programming from our families, from our parents, from our ancestors, all of that. And then we come into the world at a particular time, meaning whatever is going on in civilization is going to affect us, and it's going to affect who we become during that time. I talked about, in Ukraine, for instance, Vladimir Zelensky did not know he was going to become this global leader that everyone is admiring. He thought he was just going to be this, actor, comedian. That was it, and he was content with that. But then it shifted because he knew something had changed in the world, and he had his mission called up for him. Everyone has that. We don't always decide to go with it, however. And so the reason I say I don't want you to come in unless you are willing to become successful, happy, and prosperous. Those are the people that I want to work with, because I know that you can do it if you're willing to do the work. I was resistant, though, and I don't want people like me. That's what it was. I didn't believe it. I would listen to my mentors all the time and say, no, that couldn't possibly be me. I couldn't do this. No, whatever they said. From the time I was a kid, I was afraid of everything. I couldn't do anything. I had coaches and mentors and teachers and everyone say, no, you have all this. Nope, not me. So I was resistant. I don't want me to coach me. No, I do. I really do, because I understand that resistance. I understand that fear. And let me tell you the story, how this all came about and why I'm saying I really don't want you to come into this unless you have accepted how this was created, because I couldn't accept it for a long time. And that should have been a tell-all for me right from the very beginning. I was raised in a family of Christian Scientists. You may not even know what those people are. It's not as prominent in the world today as it once was. And even when I was a kid, I'm going to be 72, so I've been around for a bit, but when I was a kid growing up with this, nobody knew what it was. And so I always felt ostracized because we didn't do medicine. We didn't understand, we did things in a different way. It was a spiritual thing. We were called a cult by a lot of people too because of that. We were just weird. Except my family my grandmother especially lived this blessed life where she could do so many things up until her late age. And I thought, well, there must be something there, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do what she had done. I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to follow another path. Everyone has a path that they were given. It was God-given or ordained for. It was innate. It's something within you that you are meant to do that's going to allow you to evolve, expand, become as successful as you want to be, fall in love, all those things, if you will get out of the way and become your authentic self. And that was the part that was difficult for me. You see, in 1988, this was when I was in my late 30s, I was like figuring out, where am I going here in my life? Because everything before this had fallen apart and I couldn't figure out anything. And so then I decided in my desperation to start doing something called automatic writing, where I would sit and meditate, which I had started to do because I needed some calming. And when I would do my meditation, and I would see what I could write. I learned this from reading an article, by the way. That's how I didn't know anything about it. And nothing happened for a few days. Then all of a sudden, something started coming through. I said, this is crazy. Why is that happening? This is what happened for me. And it was so startling that I said, and you might have seen this video because I've talked about this part of it before, but I said, who's speaking to me? That's how it felt to me. And then I heard very clearly, this is another part of you, your higher self, but if that makes you uncomfortable, you can call me whatever you want. and then right at that time I said Wilhelm, because see, I needed to say something. Didn't know where that name came from. I found out years later, but didn't know why it came. But I needed something so that I could say there's got to be an explanation for this happening, and if I can name it someone else, I don't even have to hold on to the fact that it came through me. I did that for years, by the way. I wasn't going to tell anyone what I was doing, because what was happening is that it caused me to create a really successful business, because I started from nothing, and now I'm figuring out so many things that I was being guided because of the messages that I was receiving and what I was writing. That, again, didn't want to tell people. Then in 2007, I was exposed. People found the messages, wanted me to put them out there, so that's what I did. And that's where it began. But what I'm talking about now is the change that's happening in our world, and why my program came about and why my coaching came about to be what it is, because of the life that I've lived. Listening to Steve Case today, if you don't know who he is one of the founders. They consider him the founder of AOL. You know, we still have AOL. I still have an AOL address, by the way. That's how long this has been. But he has a book out, and he's doing a tour on it, and it's called The Rise of the Rest. The Rise of the Rest. And what he was saying, he was going around looking at people and saying, everyone has lived something that they could make and turn into a business. Turn into something that they could monetize, become entrepreneurs. And a lot of people are doing that. We've seen it happen. We saw it happen so much when people were going through the pandemic and found themselves at home, and all of a sudden something started coming about, said, wait a minute, I'm supposed to do something else now. We all have that. But it doesn't always come out at the times that we think, or we might be on some other path, and then all of a sudden this information comes about, and it's like, wow, where'd that come from? I didn't know I could be that person. That was me. Because see, in 2021, as many of you might have heard, I was walking down the street and I heard, we gave you everything you needed to know in 2012, which sounded insane to me, and I tried to deny it, and I no longer do that, because now I know that that's what happened. I downloaded a philosophy, all this material, didn't know that it had happened, and I'll show you how it works, and I'll give you some examples. Because I just randomly went, because it's all throughout the entire year of 2012. There's a whole nother story that goes along with that, and if you want to study history, you will figure it out, because study the Mayan calendar and all of that, 2012 will make sense. But if you also study history in general of the world, you can see all the events that were happening in 2012, which we're sort of repeating now, or moving through them in a different way, because we're attempting to heal all of those things. So we're attempting to heal what was within us. That's what my work does. This was one, and it says anger. I used to have a lot of anger. My one therapist, maybe 40 years ago, she said, I think you have repressed anger. I said, that's not possible. I'm too nice. We all say that, and it's not true. We all have it. We can't come in with it for different reasons. But here's one of them. And I had to look at this. Your experience of anger, you experience anger because of your inability to change something. That's all of us. Why are we yelling at other people? Because we can't change something. We want them to change, but we're the ones who are upset, and we're angry, and we're pointing it out, yelling at them. Okay. You will experience a particular event, situation, circumstance, or person that arouses a sense of frustration within you, and you express it in anger. It is never that you do not have the ability to change whatever it is, but it is that you have yet to allow that particular way to enter your consciousness. And that was it. Sometimes when we take, you've heard it so many times, stop, wait, take a breath, count to 10, all of those things. We've heard them forever. But I had to look at this in a really different way. And this message allowed me to start to work through methodically all my little issues of anger, all the people that I thought had done me wrong. And I had to let go of that, because see, as long as you hold on to that, you cannot live your life. If you think someone else did something to you in the past that is still causing you to be angry, you haven't discovered who you are. That's all. Because you weren't in that situation for accidentally. You were there for a reason. And this is what I went through in 1979 when I was losing a business, and I was so angry because I blamed it on this guy, my partner, who was destroying the business because he wanted to do that. And I'm thinking, and I carried this for decades until I recognized, oh, No, see, something else was guiding my life. I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to be doing that business. There was something else that I was meant to do, and I was just resisting it. This was the universe, God, however you think of it, directing me to move in a new direction. I was resistant, though. I had that for a long time. Let me show you another. I just did this just randomly, just to see. I want to show you what this is about. And I'm going to talk about more of this. I'm doing a workshop on Saturday because I thought, again, I'm going to have these recorded because I need people to see them before they ever decide to work with me or come into my program, because I want you to know the work that's involved, but I also want you to understand the result. The result is that you become incredibly happy and love yourself. That's the result that you have. Anyway, and you become prosperous because now you're doing the things that you want to do and you'll stay with it. That's just what's so thrilling, and your energy level starts to increase. It's really phenomenal when that starts to happen. Here's another one. If you desire to expand your physical life experience, decide to expand your thinking each and every day. In other words, anything that you desire to be, do, have, create, or manifest must first take place in your thinking. It is quite difficult to do anything physical at all if your thinking has not accepted that very idea of what it is you desire to do. That is the biggest problem with most of us, and it was the biggest one with me because I thought, I really want to do this, but I don't believe that I am the person to do it. I've seen it with every single one of my clients. When I was coaching vocals, beginning with vocals, I would see it all the time. Say, no, I can't do this. I even went through it today with a client. Thinking everything's ruined. I go, no, it's just your brain. It's just your thinking that's gotten in the way. And when we start understanding neuroscience, we can see how we develop these habits and these patterns, and then we know how we can change them. I've changed all of them. Okay, now one more. Denial can be a very valuable tool for you to use as you strive for expansion. Denial, as it is being used here, means the desires that you have, which you prevent yourself from having through your own thoughts, deeds, actions, and words. I won't read the entire thing, but you get the idea. We have to become mindful, and you've heard of mindfulness. These are the things that I had to go back and become aware of, because I would catch myself judging every little thing that I had done, it's not perfect yet. I can't do anything forever. And this was old behavior, and I had to become willing to move through it, and it was challenging. Then I had to work through all of my fear of being criticized. Remember the saying when we were kids, and we used to use this one, and I thought, this doesn't make sense. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. I go, that's not true, because you could say anything to me before and I would crumble. Criticize me, say anything at all, and I would just fall down in complete despair. I no longer care. That's what happens. When you start to understand who you are, that stuff doesn't come up anymore, doesn't affect you, and you get on with doing what you are willing to do. Now, the work is this. This is why I said a lot of people won't do it. I had someone in the program, this is a year ago, and they had worked through so much, but they were still angry. And I said, okay, that's good. Now you can keep going. Just keep uncovering this, and you're going to keep chipping away at it, because that's how it happens. Because we want to project, we want to blame someone else for our experience in our lives, and we can never become empowered people if we're doing that. If somebody else is controlling how I'm feeling, how can I ever direct my life and become an empowered person? That's all that happens. And so it's all, and again, if you were to study, we know more about this now with the study and development of neuroscience over the last several decades, and this works. And we have a plan, because I downloaded a plan for people to use that they can guide themselves through all their restrictions and limitations that we all have, and then come to this place of total acceptance of who they are, loving themselves, discovering that they do have this purpose, they do have this thing that they're meant to do that they've been doubting all of their lives, just like I did. But then it starts to come about and everything changes, and no one will hold you back when that occurs. That's what I wanted you to understand. So if that is something that you want to have, I guarantee everything because I know that it works because I've done it. If I could have lived my life and gone through all that I have and healed everything that I've done, then I know that this stuff works. I just had to come into acceptance of me, meaning that I was this guy who sat and received all this spiritual ancient wisdom and information that I can give back to others. It's happened before. Yes, that is exactly what I did. But I do hope you come and listen to one of my workshops. I'm doing one this Saturday, depending on when you might be seeing this, but they will be published somewhere. But just take this into consideration. You have everything that you need within you to make a magnificent life, and all you have to do is become willing to uncover what it is, own it, accept it, and love yourself. That's all.